2016 Lake Havasu Songwriters Festival gets underway. Somebody made Wonder Woman the president, and I, for one, say it's about time. Vixen joins Legends of Tomorrow, and she's not the old Vixen, she's the older Vixen. Norman Reedus picks the Marvel hero he wants to be. Paramount and CBS Star Trek Nazis make their opinion known. And Ghostbusters gets a new theme, and how the heck do we feel about that? All this and more on this week's Hava Geek Cast. It's Sunday morning, June 26th. I'm Mike Woodard, and this guy right here, we like to call him Drake Finney.
Yes, we do like to call me Drake Finney, and I finally now am getting my cup of coffee that I went to make at 6 o'clock this morning.
We got another late start on the show this week, but that's all right. It happens. We try and be up there and ready to go for you on Facebook before noon every Sunday, but you know what? Every now and then life steps in. All right, straight into local news, man. So the preliminaries, the auditions for the festival are over with, so where do we stand?
The festivals for the Lake Havasu Songwriter Festival 2016, their auditions are all wrapped up. They're all done. Nancy Campbell should be notifying those artists that have made it to the next level. So they're going to hear about it, and they're going to prepare. And from the schedule I see, that's going to start August 15th, is when they're actually going to bring their A game, and they're going to start performing at the Refuge and different things, and they'll have a social media aspect, which we will be working hand in hand with the Songwriter Festival for it. If you want to see the auditions, they're on our Facebook page right now, as well as Purple Griffin Entertainment's Facebook page. And what you'll see is a cleaner, more professional version. I was just doing a lot of live streaming when it happened, but there is an aspect of the vote that our listeners and our fans of the podcast need to get in on, because 1/3 of their vote is social media recognition. So they're going to be doing the best they can. We're going to be getting some of those artists in here. We're going to be interviewing with them, maybe have them sing a few bars or notes or even the whole song if they want to, live on the show. And it's all going to be to help raise awareness for them, because it's going to be the vote of the audience that's there. It's going to be industry vote. And then it's going to be social media vote, and who better than to help launch that than Hava Geek Cast?
Moving on into some stuff. All right, let's see, more Supergirl casting news, and this one you can't not love, especially if you're an old grumpy geek like my own self. Linda Carter is joining the cast of Supergirl, and they've made her the President of the United States. This just makes me happy.
Well, it also should make everyone in Havasu happy, because of those old timers for Havasu know that Linda Carter lived on the corner of Daytona and Thistle for many, many years. This was her little getaway residence. So, hey, folks, this is a local girl that now is Wonder Woman and the president. So I'm triply excited.
Sure. And I gotta love the direction that they're taking with casting on Supergirl, which is to pull in these iconic actors and actresses from past projects. Flash did it with the old 90s Flash TV show, and Supergirl, they're kind of stretching their legs a little bit and bringing in different shows, not just old super properties. So for them to pull in Linda Carter from the 70s Wonder Woman TV show, it's just the best thing in the world as far as I'm concerned. And I hope we see him get to do a lot more of that stuff.
Well, and one thing I'm looking forward to, because it is the CW and we know they're always famous for Easter eggs, there's going to have to be some head nod to her old iconic Wonder Woman character, whether it be a poster, a picture, something. They're going to sneak something in to make us go, we saw what you did there.
All she's got to do is just spin around one time, and I'll be happy.
You just made me spit my coffee everywhere on that one.
Legends of Tomorrow announced some casting news. Vixen, which is a character that she had her own CW Seed internet animated series, which brought in Stephen Amell and a couple of the other gang from Arrow to do some voice work on that. And they've decided to bring the Vixen character into Legends. However, the actress that we know as Vixen can't make it. She just simply, she's busy. She had other, it's not that she doesn't want to play the character, and she said so as loudly as she possibly can. She just has other obligations. So they're bringing in an actress. I've got her, Maisie Richardson / Sellers. We know her from the originals. She was in Star Wars The Force Awakens, and she's going to play Jiwe. I have no idea how to pronounce that.
We'll wait for the show to tell us that.
Yeah, exactly. But they're going to bring her in as the Vixen we know's grandma, because time travel.
It works. It works perfectly for me. I absolutely love the idea.
Yeah, Legends is. I'm every word of publicity that comes out during the hiatus just makes me want that new season more and more and more. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had a rumor. It's not casting news. It's just a rumor, but it got a little bit of movement across the internet. Apparently, there was a rap on a train. Which event was this? Was it E3?
It was E3, and it was a rap on the bus.
The bus. Okay, I thought they had some sort of train set up around the convention center. But anyway, there was a rap on this bus featuring a flaming chain, which, as we all know, is the primary weapon of a guy called Ghost Rider that we all know and love. So instantly, Ghost Rider, who is now finally owned once again by Marvel, is going to show up on the next season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Unfortunately, no. We already know who the chain belongs to. Remind me who that is?
That's a Inhuman by the name of Hellfire.
Yeah. So that tells us we've got a little more Inhuman action coming in the season coming up. They're not dropping that storyline completely.
No, but it is one where, again, Marvel throws their toe in the water and says, here's a little something. How do you feel?
Yeah, exactly. So I think Marvel, or rather I hope that Marvel kind of perks up its ears a little bit and says, okay, there's some Ghost Rider interest out there. And here's another thing that will back that up. Norman Reedus, we know him. We love him from The Walking Dead. Daryl's my jam. Yep. He has just simply out of the blue stated unequivocally that if he could play any Marvel hero in the Marvel universe, he wants to play Ghost Rider. And on one hand, it's the most obvious choice you could possibly make. On the other hand, man, I can't think of anybody better for the job.
He's perfect for it. He's perfect for the beaten down, rugged Johnny Blaze that they rolled back out when they did the Dan Ketch storyline in the 90s. It's not the stunt cyclist. It's the one that I had a family, hell's breaking loose. I'm going to even the odds again because they're not getting hurt. I love that casting choice. And I'm sorry, he needs to do exactly what Ryan Reynolds did and hound and hound and hound until we get that product and we can say goodbye to the actor who shall never be named version of Ghost Rider.
Who I love in the role. I will respect your wishes, sir, but I love both of those Ghost Rider movies like I love ice cream.
He was only good Ghost Rider when he was CGI. I'm sorry, just Nicholas.
Your opinions are well known. So don't want to interrupt you, but
put it on my gravestone.
we got some damn show to do. Bottom line, look, I'll say this. I would love to see Reedus take a swing at the Johnny Blaze version of the character. It's outside of his wheelhouse. Reedus has played Daryl in pretty much everything that he's done. And I'm hoping he's a better actor than that. I hope that there's range there that he just hasn't had a chance to show us, and would love to see that guy, that actor, take a swing at a more flamboyant, a more aggressive role. And Johnny Blaze being the kids, ask your parents who Evel Knievel was, because that's who Johnny Blaze was originally patterned on. But that flamboyant kind of circus look at me character that Johnny Blaze started out to be and was slowly changed to, tone down a little bit over time. I'd love to see him go old school with that kind of stuff. So I think it would serve the movie. I think it would make the Ghost Rider civilian identity, for lack of a better term, a more interesting thing to watch on the screen than the moody kind of thing that Ghost Rider has become over time. I think that was more a function of where the Marvel thought people wanted to see the character go. And there's been this move towards nostalgic versions of these characters. Bring back the old school. So want to see him do that with Johnny Blaze and want to see Norman Reedus take that swing at it.
And it is important to point out that Ghost Rider is like a Hulk character, where your actor's only going to be playing realistically the human counterpart. The hero's going to be CGI. So as long as they can get that right, the actor's got a hard, I guess you'd say, rope to toe with pulling off the civilian side of the character.
Sure, but keep in mind, motion capture has reached the point now where, they're putting a suit on the actor playing the civilian version and letting him be the superhero version.
Yeah, and we saw that in Warcraft, and that was still amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And same thing with the Hulk. A lot of the facial expressions that you saw from the Hulk were the actor's facial expressions. So we'll see how it all goes. Right now, highly speculative, and nothing firm has been said one way or the other. This is just, hopeful casting on our part. Suicide Squad. Every week that goes by, there's a little nugget of news, but we're super close to the actual release of the film, and the latest bit of news, this is not going to be a long movie. 100 minutes, a little over an hour and a half, and I think that works perfectly for what this thing's going to be.
They've made a lot of changes since Superman versus Batman. They reshot some scenes. I thought we were going to get a little bit longer. They cut it back. Maybe they've dialed in and have finally listened to the fans and the ticket buyers of what they want.
Yeah. I don't want to necessarily hold Deadpool up as the ideal. The Avengers, the latest Captain America movie, the one thing about all these that was most important was entertainment value. So Age of Ultron, not as entertaining as I think we wanted it to be, and really a long movie. They had a lot to tell there. So Marvel, hopefully looking at that. And these movies that we've got coming up in the next stage of films, I'd like to see them scale back a little bit on the length my own self. I, on one hand, sure, want a ton of story. Give me all the story you can cram in there. But at the same time, I think I want a leaner and more fast-paced superhero film. And I really felt Deadpool nailed that. Same with Guardians of the Galaxy, same with Ant-Man. So as far as DC goes, I'm hoping they're just paying attention. Batman versus Superman was a long, drawn-out beast. I enjoyed it fine. I don't hate that movie like some people hate that movie, but I really could have used a shorter version of it. But at the same time, I don't know what you could have significantly cut out of it to make it a faster paced film. There was some stuff you could have pulled out, the weird little flashbacks, the setup stuff for future things down the road. Maybe you could give me a version of the movie that didn't have all that stuff in there, but that still would have been a really long movie.
Yeah, no, it would have. And I think Hollywood got bit with the long movie bug thanks to the success of The Lord of the Rings. But at the same time, you've got to remember when you're pulling from something like Lord of the Rings that could be a 3-hour movie and still leave out hundreds of pages of content. They just got used to making long movies. I think you're right. Deadpool's formula, Ant-Man's formula, let's scale it back. And if we get to a story that is that massive, then give me a 2-hour movie. But for these one-shots of the heroes, keep it an hour and a half. Make it feel like a 30-page comic book again. Sure.
I'm really curious to see Thor Ragnarok. There isn't a thing that I've heard about that movie that doesn't make me excited about it. But while I don't think the length of the movie is going to directly correlate as to whether it's a good or bad movie, it definitely has an impact on entertainment value. If a movie is going on for longer than it ought to, and it's not as entertaining as it should be, then that hurts the film. So
if I'm looking for a spot to go to the bathroom in a movie and not paying attention in the movie, it's gone too long.
Yeah. Now, that being the case, there are 2 websites out on the internet that within about a week of a movie being released will tell you exactly where in the movie to go. I can't think of the name of them, but just Google the phrase, go to the bathroom during a movie. And one of these two websites will definitely pop up for you. And all they do is somebody goes and sees the movie and reports back and says, okay, there's a really slow part right here where no vital information is passed out. So if you can make it to 47 minutes in, then you'll have a 2-minute window to go hit the bathroom.
Wow, I could have used that in Age of Ultron bad.
No doubt. Latest Star Trek news doesn't have anything to do with Star Trek Beyond. As you know, Axanar and the legal battle that it's fighting, everybody involved in fan fiction in the Star Trek universe is watching this thing super closely. Brian Fuller released a little information that just turned out to not be right. Don't know what was going on there, but, we got an announcement from Fuller that said everything's been resolved, everything's been worked out, got nothing to worry about. Everything's fine. Axanar gets made. Lawsuit gets dropped. None of that happened.
Nope.
The closest thing to that happening is the Star Trek Nazis at Paramount and CBS have released a guideline for future fan films, which is to say, stay within these parameters and you don't have any legal issues from us. Now, where do we stand on those parameters?
Well, we got a message over from Geek and Sundry that published or put it out there. These are the big 5 bullet points out there right now, as far as they say. CBS has announced. When you're working on a fan project, here are your guidelines, and they're very restrictive. They actually hinder anything you could roll out as a fan. Number 1. The fan production must be less than 15 minutes for a single self-contained story, or no more than 2 segments, episodes, or parts, not to exceed 30 minutes total, with no additional seasons, episodes, parts, sequels, or remakes.
Boo.
Exactly. Number 2. The title of the fan production or any parts cannot include the name Star Trek. However, the title must contain a subtitle with the phrase "a Star Trek fan production" in plain typeface. The fan production cannot use the term official in either its title or subtitle or any marketing, promotion, or social media or fan production.
Yeah, that doesn't upset me a lot. There are ways around that.
Yeah, exactly. Now to the last 3. The fan production must be a real, quote, fan, unquote, production, i.e. creators, actors, and all other participants must be amateurs, cannot be compensated for their services, and cannot be currently or previously employed on any Star Trek series, film, production of DVDs, or with any CBS or Paramount Pictures licensees. There takes out all the actors that want to do these.
Boo.
Next one. The fan production must be non-commercial. CBS and Paramount Pictures do not object to a limited fundraising for the creation of a fan production, whether 1 or 2 segments, and consistent with these guidelines, so long as the total amount does not exceed $50,000, including all platform fees, and when the $50,000 goal is reached, all funding must cease.
That's not a whole lot different. I mean, aside from the restriction on the amount that you can raise, that's understandable. I don't consider that in the realm of Nazism, short of the restrictive amount. That amount could be a little larger than it is.
Yeah, and then the last one, the fan production must only be exhibited or distributed on a no charge basis and or shared via streaming services without generating revenue.
And again, that's standard. That's nothing that's going to restrict anybody. So these 5 are the most important bullet points. I mean, there's a lot more in that document. These are just the top 5 hot buttons. Yeah, exactly. And the really only 2 of them do I find objectionable, but man, I find them complete deal breakers.
Yeah. Well, a perfect example, Star Trek Gods and Men that included Coing and Nichols could not have been made with these guidelines.
Sure. Michael Dorn, Worf, had some major plans for a really great storyline involving Worf that he was going to create as a fan film. All of that plot has been refocused to a non-Star Trek related product, and we will see that somewhere down the road. But it would have made a damn fine Star Trek related movie that we're never going to get to see now. the actor who played Tuvok. He floated a deal not too long ago. Man, my brain is completely shut down on the names for all this stuff, but it's easily looked up on the web. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, just search Tuvok actor fan film. And this thing will come up. It's amazing. It's more dark and moody than any Star Trek project you've ever considered. But it's a storyline that we never would have gotten to see under these new guidelines and may never get to see.
Well, and what are you going to do? I mean, is Star Wars the big candidate? What are you going to do with 15 minutes that you can never have a sequel to or you can never expand upon?
You know what? I think there are ways around that. And telling short stories is a valid way to tell some stories. It's not so much that good stories can't be told in 2 15-minute blocks. It's that there are some stories that will never see the light of day because of that. And that makes me sad.
Yeah. And to answer the question about the litigation, in the very last line, it says, it seems that Paramount and CBS aren't backing off from litigation against the Naxar, despite James Abrams and Lynn's protestations.
Yeah, this document isn't directly connected to the Axanar legal issue, but it exists because of it. So, like I said, man, I will now and forevermore call them Star Trek Nazis. This is a thing that doesn't need to be. And Paramount and CBS, it's all in service of protecting the intellectual property, the copyright, whatever else, whatever the proper term is for it. But you understand where I'm going with this. You have to protect the intellectual property or you'll lose it. But you don't have to go to these lengths and you don't have to lock it down this hard. Nobody's looking to take it away from Paramount or CBS. Nobody's looking to make money that, shouldn't be made. Everybody understands that these things are labors of love and that they're not meant to make a profit. And I'm waiting for the big Star Wars fan film issue. Right now, Disney is not, they're not pursuing it. All the Star Wars fan films out there, the ones being made right now, the ones that have been made in the past, they have free reign to do what they're doing within a set of guidelines developed by the fan community itself. And Lucasfilm set that precedent a long, long time ago. And the fan community hasn't had a problem with it. And nothing untoward has happened because of that. And I'm glad to see that Disney at least seems to be following forward with Lucasfilm's policy, once they took over Lucasfilm. But all that being said, who knows when a new team of executives are going to take over the company and policy gets changed. So
I think you were right on the head on the first one. When Anaxar rolled out, it made too much of a splash, too much of a bang. The people that didn't know it was a fan-made film, because I didn't know it was a fan-made film. I knew my buddy Orion Akaba had been the narrator on it, so I checked it out. I thought this was legit. And I think that was the problem, was too many people were going, wow, and CBS and Paramount were going, well, there's nothing in our pockets for this. Wham, wham, wham. So you're right in what you titled them, Star Trek Nazis.
Yeah, and that's the key. Unless something fundamentally changes, that's the behavior. So,
and with us saying that, if my Star Trek Online account gets shut down, and I'm really going to know why.
All right, moving on to our final topic. This is Ghostbusters related. The new film just released information on the soundtrack, and a few of the songs have hit the web. You can listen to part of the new Ghostbusters soundtrack, and for some reason, nobody seems to like the new theme. This is Fall Out Boy and Missy Elliott, and they've just created a new version of the classic Ghostbusters theme. It's there are samples from the original Ray Parker Jr. Joint in there, and they've just simply done a remix on it and made an effort to quote unquote update it, so to speak. And I don't hate it. It's a song. and part of the, okay, let me digress. Look, before you get started, let me digress a second and explain my point. There is no bad music. Every song that exists has at least one person in the world who likes it, and I'm not going to tell that person that their song sucks. That comes out of my radio background. You know what I mean? I played a lot of music I didn't like, but never did I open the mic and say, here's a song that sucks. And when it comes to the Ghostbusters, it doesn't seem like the world is going to allow them to do anything right. You know what I mean? Every new Ghostbusters thing that pops up, somebody somewhere says, oh my God, that's the worst fill in the blank that I've ever seen, heard, or read. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a knee-jerk thing. I don't think any thought's being put into it. I just think that people want to love Ghostbusters so much and are afraid they're going to hate it so much, they're just automatically developing a negative attitude towards anything Ghostbusters related. And I hate the knee-jerk thing, and I hate telling somebody that music sucks. So I'm giving it a break. It's not, like I said, I don't know that I like it, but I don't hate it, and I don't understand the venom that's being spewed about it. Go.
All right. And I was going to say, the reason you were stammering is because you knew I'm over here just not so much fume coming out of the ears, because you are right. No music absolutely 100% sucks. Even my daughter at 4 years old pounding on the piano still had some quality to it because it's music. And we're both partial to it. Here's my problem with the song. And I listened to it a couple times when I first posted it on our Facebook page. And then also today when I was taking care of the problem that crept up. I like Fall Out Boy. And I want to put that out there right now. I like the band. I don't mind Missy Elliott. I listen to a couple of her things. You know, I have young daughters. I have to, it permeates the air once in a while. The problem I had with it was the first part of the song. To me, it was two different songs that they just mashed together, and they didn't do it as clean as I would have liked it. I was fine with the way Fall Out Boy started and going, but to me, it felt like they went, oh, wait, we have to go back and do a little tribute to the old one. And for me, it just felt like it kept changing. It felt like I had the daughters on the car dial in the car going back and forth between two similar songs. And I just couldn't grasp it. For me, I wanted him to pick one style and stick with it. Give me the I'm Not Afraid, which they kind of took from the Ghostbusters theme. Stick with that in Fall Out Boy and Missy Elliott version. But quit trying to bring in, the lines from, the original song. So that's just where I was. It wasn't bad. Maybe I was expecting a bit more and wanted to like it, especially when I heard it was Fall Out Boy. And like I said, I enjoy Fall Out Boy a lot. So for me, it was just kind of a letdown because I would have rather heard Fall Out Boy and Missy Elliott give me 100% brand new theme for this brand new group than try to shove in and force the Ray Parker Jr. fill every 16 count, if you know what I mean.
I do, and I understand what you're saying, but everything about this new film calls back to the first one, and that's just how it is. And it's one of the major objections that a lot of people have. They don't feel that it compares well to the first movie, but it's one of the basic creative choices made about this new version of the film. So this song was inevitable, or a version of it. Some song on the contract or on the soundtrack of the movie was going to call back to the original Ghostbusters theme, which, by the way, is included in the soundtrack. The full-on Ray Parker Jr. Version of it is right there alongside this song and every other song on the soundtrack, which is as it should be, given that creative choice. I agree with you. I would have liked to see an entirely different theme, but that just wasn't going to happen. And the fact that we got this, maybe they could have done a better job calling back to it. I'll be the first one to say that. But it's not so much the song itself that's puzzling me, Drake. It's the, like I said, just saying this is repeating what I said earlier. I don't understand why it is that people can't just sit back and wait for the movie. They've got to hate every aspect of it that they find coming up. Everything, and that being said, there are a ton of people out there excited to see this movie, just like I am. But every time a new trailer comes out, every time a new piece of news about the casting or some behind the scenes approach on how they did the animation, or anytime any little tidbit about this movie is released, you hear more from the people who hate whatever it is than you do about whatever that tidbit is itself. And that is the approach that the media has taken with this. And it's a negative publicity thing. You know, the media loves to have people object and hate things because that's louder and more noticeable than, wow, we like that. You know what I mean? So what's happening around the new Ghostbusters film is a thing that I hate to see in media. I hate it with a passion, which is ironic given that what I'm saying is I hate haters.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I'll say about this what I say about everything involving this Ghostbusters movie. Until I walk out of my first viewing of that movie, I can only go with what I'm working with. And I've liked most of what I've seen and heard and read. And, you know, this little song it's just it's a disposable piece of music that we're not going to think anything about a year after it's gone. You know, It was never going to catch on the way the original theme did. And the original theme will be here years and years and years from now, where this little Fall Out Boy Missy Elliott thing is going to completely evaporate from consciousness. So.
And that's where I'm disappointed, because I think the two of them doing this could have thrown out something really good that maybe could have had some legs to it. But you are right, because I was looking back at it and I was thinking about it. Back when we had the Ghostbusters original, and a lot of movies that at those time in that era, every movie had a hit song. Beverly Hills Cop 2, you know, all of them had something that just had an iconic song. And we haven't had that out of Hollywood in the music industry lately. So,
short of getting some sort of promotional thing on YouTube, which is hard to do. I think Weird Al did it best. When he released his latest album, Mandatory Fun, he released every single one of those songs on YouTube at the rate of one a day for like a week or 10 days. So that's a good example of a way to promote yourself on YouTube. Movies can't do that anymore. Ghostbusters wasn't going to do it with this soundtrack. And I don't think this, while they might sell a few copies of the soundtrack, you know, across the internet, it's not gonna, it'll do, you know, nothing near what the original song did. And if you think back, can you think of any other songs off that soundtrack besides Ghostbusters?
I own the soundtrack, and believe it or not, I'm drawing a blank on 3 of them. So.
Yeah, see, it's the Bus Boys had a great song, and the song that played while they were running the red lights. And
yes.
that song was called Saving the Day, and that's one of my favorite unknown 80s songs. I have that on 2 or 3 different 80s compilations I've made for myself. But that's just me. I'm geeky about that kind of stuff. Most people couldn't name a single song off the old Ghostbusters soundtrack beyond Ghostbusters itself. So the objection that I have to the reaction to this new version of the theme, like I said, just to wrap it up, is just simply haters hating just to hate. And frankly, that just doesn't float my boat.
Well, and one thing I am looking forward to, though, because Fall Out Boy, like I said, I am a fan of theirs. Mm-hmm. They do some good videos as well. I really look forward to them putting something together for this around the release of the movie. And, you know, that might be the thing that really starts to tip me onto the scale of, okay, I am going to go into it with an open mind. But, you know, catch me with the music, catch me with a catchy video, you know, and like I said, Weird Al nailed on how to do it. So yeah, I'd like to see Fall Out Boy put their production, you know, where their money is, where their mouth is.
Well, who knows? It could very well be that this one song means that somewhere shortly, not too far down the line, we've got either a new Fall Out Boy or a new Missy Elliott album coming.
True.
You know, maybe this is, you know, the foot in the door for that. I'd be happy for either one or both of those. All right, man, that's gonna, unless you've got something I've forgotten about.
No, that's all on my desk. So anything else on yours?
No, other than to say, hook us up, like us a whole bunch on Facebook, comment on every single article you see posted on our page. That all goes to help us out. We're going to have a YouTube channel for you in the not too distant future. Just keep listening. When that happens, the news will come up there. And of course, we're going to want you to like and thumbs up and help us promote that bad boy, because that's going to make it possible for us to keep doing this. If you've got something you want us to geek out about, we want to do that for you. So just let us know. Drop a comment or two on our Facebook page, Facebook/Hava-Geek-Cast. Cast.
Also hit us up on Twitter at Hava Geek Cast. Not .com, it's just at Hava Geek Cast, as well as emailing us at havageekcast@gmail.com. Those are ways also to reach us. And as Mike said, go to the fan page right now. You'll be able to see the links to the auditions for the 2016 Music Festival. Give them a like, give them a shout out of who you already are supporting. The fastest way we can build up recognition for this event is to get out there, get active on it, and remember, all the money raised does go back to the kids for the Arts Foundation.
Yep. Support local music and you'll get more of it.
All right. Well then, Mike, that's it for me. So everybody, have a geek week.